Hi, welcome to our Honors Geometry 1.5, 1.6 Notes Day. This is period 7, I believe. I'll be at Seneca, so I apologize for missing class. Please warm up with that first set of 3 questions, A, B, and C. And of course, there are a lot of different answers. I'll put my completed notes with all the possible answers, or at least a handful of possible answers, in just a few minutes. As a reminder, adjacent angles share a common ray. So for example, here I could have adjacent angles that are angle JKM. I'm going to do a weird example. I'll do JKM and MKL. So those two could be adjacent. They share the ray MK, or KM rather. A linear pair forms a straight line. They are supplementary. So these are always supplementary. Vertical angles, if I have 2 intersecting lines, are the ones that are across from each other, opposite from each other. They're not adjacent. So like the top and bottom angles would be vertical, or the left and right would be vertical. And those are always equal. These are always congruent. Complementary add to 90, supplementary add to 180, and perpendicular has that weird symbol, looks like an upside down T. That just means that it makes a 90-degree angle. So again, as a quick warm-up, I'd like you to try example 1, and then when you're done, check the completed notes. I'll post the completed notes with those examples, or at least a handful of examples that you could use. And let's go to checkpoint 1 when you're done. And if I'm ever going too fast, just pause the video, finish that problem, unpause, check your work, and we can move on. So true or false, a linear pair is always supplementary, and supplementary angles always that's weird grammar, always form a straight line. All right, I'm going to answer this in like 2 seconds, so if you're still working, please pause the video. A linear pair is always supplementary, that's true. But supplementary angles do not always form a straight line because they are not necessarily adjacent. I could have 2 supplementary angles that are way off in space, nowhere near each other, but still add up to 180. They don't necessarily have to connect to each other. So they are adding up to 180, but they don't necessarily connect to form a straight line. So using that knowledge, let's look at checkpoint 4, page 54A and 4B. And I'd like you to determine whether you can assume the following. GHL and LHJ are supplementary, and GHM and MHK are adjacent. All right, please pause the video, consider those 2 problems, answer the question, and then check your work by unpausing. That first one should be GHL, LHJ. I would go with no, we can't assume, because I don't know what these angles are. All I know is that there's a 90. So it might look like a straight line, but I can't assume that. And then GHM and MHK are adjacent, yes, I can assume that. They share MH or HM. All right, a couple word problems, and then we're going to do some segment or angle addition rather on the next page. So just finish this part 1, and then I'll have part 2 posted as well for the segment or angle addition postulate. So find the measure of two supplementary angles if one is twice the measure of the other. So supplementary means they make a straight line, 180. So I have two supplementary angles. I don't know either one. So I can put x for one of them. And then if the other one is twice the measure of the other, then that's got to be 2x. So I have two angles, 2x and 1x, that together add up to 180. Why don't you try solving example 2 and then solve checkpoint 2 as well. Pause the video and then unpause to check your work when you're done. So here x should be 60. You got 60 degrees and 120. And then here I've got complementary angles, forms a right angle. So one of them is unknown as x, and the other one is 12 more than twice the other, so 2x plus 12. So you should have 3x plus 12 is 90. And you should get x is 26, so you get 26 and 64. All right, and our last one here, if this is 8x plus 18, I can set 8x plus 18 equal to 90, or 8x is 72, or x is 9. So please check out part 2, the video part 2, that's also going to be posted in like 7 minutes for the second page of our notes, or the second half of our notes, and I will see you on Tuesday.